Here are my 3 most underrated cards from the Vendetta spoilers today. So the first card is Twilight Shroud, which is a 1-cost spell, green. Give a friendly unit +1 this turn. It can't be chosen by enemy spells and abilities this turn, and it's float 2, which means that you can play this from your trash for its full cost. So I think the real big ability here is the fact that you can give a camel effect to pretty much any unit, right? So any unit can become a camel with the addition of whatever their effects are. So Aurelia can become untargetable by any spells and abilities, and I think that's what makes her really, really, really strong when played with this card. But the thing is, it's not reaction speed and it's not action speed, which means that you have to play this on your turn before you actually do anything. So that allows your opponent to play Starcross and react to it and bounce your Aurelia back. So I think that's why people are saying that it's either super overrated or I think it's super broken, but I think it's more in between. It's going to be a very good like one of or maybe 2 of in your deck. Probably just a 1 of because you can also play it from trash. And it's only going to be when you really need to break a battlefield that turn. And the thing is, like, even if you do break that battlefield that turn, your opponent can then wait until their turn, and then your Aurelia becomes targetable again, right? Or any unit becomes targetable again. So they can dispose of it if they want to, or they have the ability to do that. And I think that's why it's still underrated, because I think it definitely is very good in specific situations and in specific decks, but it's not broken because you're not going to play 3 of this in every single green deck. Mainly because outside of these very important turns, it's not going to be that great. So that means that you're going to have a dead card in your hand, and that's not usually what you want. So the second card I want to talk about is Renekton, or Renekton. I don't know how to pronounce that. But he's the red and orange legend that just got released, and he has the ability Reaction, pay 2 power, tap this legend, add 2 energy, spend this energy only to play units or activate abilities of units. So basically, this means like you recycle 2 runes and you get 2 energy and you can play a bigger unit early on. So on turn 1, you can play a 4 cost. On turn 2, you can play a 6 cost. So that just means that you have bigger units than your opponent, and that's usually very good in Riftbound. So I think that's why people are saying initially that it's pretty bad and it's almost unplayable, but I do think it does have potential because Riftbound is all about, I would say, like tempo and control and board control especially. So if you have either more units or a higher might unit on your field, that gives you a very big advantage over your opponent because your opponent is then forced to react to your bigger might. And that's why, you know, like Yi is so good because you have so much might developed on the board already with just a legend ability. And I think this is similar in the sense that you can develop very big units early on and your opponent can't really deal with it unless you're purple and you can Starcross. But again, like I think that is the biggest disadvantage of this deck is that like if your opponent is able to deal with your big board early on, then that sets you back so much that you probably lose. But if you have the ability to like bypass that and actually start conquering and holding with your bigger units, then you probably do win. So I guess we'll see, but I do think it does have a potential. I think playing like a Ferris Foreigner on turn 2 or a Kaisa and Nexus Hopeful on turn 2 is really, really strong in any deck and against any deck. All right, so this last card, I feel nobody has really talked about it, but I think it's just a really, really good card and low-key probably the best purple finisher that you can see in the game. And this is Ocean Drake, which is purple, 8 costs and 2 power, and it's a 7-mine unit, and it says, you may play me to an open battlefield. When you play me, you may return a non-dragon unit to its owner's hand. And I think the reason why this card is so good, especially when your opponent is trying to go to 8, so it's like they're either at 5 or 6 or whatever, usually what they're going to do is that they're going to try and retract all of their units to their base and try to attack the next turn and conquer 2 to go to 8. That means that they have 1 or 2 battlefields that are going to be open, which means that you can plop Ocean Drake, that gives you 1 point, and not only that, you can bounce their strongest unit and bounce it to their hand. And I think that gives you so much tempo back because not only that it gives you 1 point, but also you're able to bounce the strongest unit on the field wherever it is. So like it could be battlefield, it could be base. I think that's why it's so strong. And you know, like even if they do have 2 battlefields present and they're occupied, you can always just like play it in base and bounce one of your units, and then you can try and conquer back a battlefield because then you bounce their biggest unit. So I think that's why this is low-key probably the best purple finisher. Like the other one could be maybe Mind Splitter, where it's like more of a control thing, where you can like discard the best card that they have in their hand. This like deals with the board right away, and I think that's why it's so strong. So those were my 3 most underrated cards for only day 1, and I'm gonna try and do this video every day for spoiler seasons and just like talk about my underrated cards.